The Lagos State House of Assembly made headlines across the country yesterday with the impeachment of its Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa. This development comes amidst allegations of financial misappropriation, including the withdrawal of 43.5 billion naira for backup vehicles for lawmakers and other questionable activities. Obasa has been a dominant figure in Lagos politics, serving as Speaker since 2015 and representing the Agege Constituency I since 2007.
Obasa's removal marks a significant shift in the power dynamics of the Lagos State House of Assembly. His deputy, Mojisola Lasbat Meranda, has taken over as Speaker. This change in leadership may have implications for the state's governance and politics, particularly with the 2027 gubernatorial elections on the horizon. What's next for Lagos State, and how will this development impact the state's future? Joining us to discuss this is Honorable Adeyemi Ikuforiji, the former Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
All right. I think a great way to start the conversation is to ask if you saw this. I mean, you've been in his shoes before, serving as the Speaker of the House. You served, I think both of you have similar duration, 10 years each. Did you see the end of Mr. Honorable Mudashiru Obasa's time in office in this manner? Did you foresee it?
Let me start firstly by making a correction.
All right, please go ahead.
Obasa started representing Agege since 2003, not 2007. He came into the house 2003 at the same time with me. And back to your question, the seat of the Speaker is a very hot one. And one should not just get complacent with it. You should not take it for granted. You should not take members for granted, because it's the contribution of all the other 39 members that make your seat comfortable. If any of them feels bad with you or is aggrieved, your seat is getting shaken already. That's, if I expected this, yeah, I think with events that have been unfolding over time, it's not out of place to expect that there will be a change of pattern in the leadership of the House.
When you say events, what are these events that you're speaking about?
Well, from what we hear from members and what we observe, I think Speaker Obasa was getting too comfortable on his seat, and he has also he has moved out of that what we call the path, that you must tread as, just first among equals. When you start seeing your colleagues as subordinates, or when you start feeling that you have become larger than life, it becomes very dangerous in any parliament. I mean, the House of Assembly, the parliament, is one where everyone is equal. When you get elected to lead the House, don't get carried away with some of your members calling you Oga, my leader, my what? No, that's just, it's a way of, getting you into trouble. And I think he easily fell into trouble. Yeah, I mean, I felt very sad yesterday seeing the reaction across the board. I mean, it wasn't the best for a speaker who had been on seat for almost a decade.
Yeah, I mean, the change in character and, what you've described as him, seemingly, carried himself like he was bigger or better than the remaining members of the House. Did that start recently, or has this always been the personality of Honorable Obasa in the 10 years that he's been there?
Look, to me, I mean, he was my colleague and was very close to me. And honestly, he was a very pleasant person. I mean, when we were in the house together. But of course, everyone has the very good side and the downside of each and every character. I think from the time he became speaker to the event of yesterday, there have been a big change in his person, or rather, he exhibited traits which were not that very visible before he became speaker. Well, I was close to him and I knew some of this stuff, but I also thought for the time he has spent in the parliament, he should have learned some lessons about leadership and leading the parliament in particular. But I don't think that really worked very well until he started seeing signs too that there is fire on the mountain. Yeah. And I think he saw that too late.
There's also those who say that he was disrespectful to the governor of the state, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And of course, when people point, examples, as the budget presentation day, and the way he carried himself and his character, keeping the governor waiting. There's been many of these, statements that have been made, allegations that have been made. Is this something that you're also aware of? And, are these things true? Was he, from your analysis, disrespectful to the governor of the state?
Well, let's be very objective about this. The honest truth is the House of Assembly is an arm of government that has its own rules, and I mean the system there is a little bit different from what it is from the executive arm. But we cannot take the issue of the power of the parliament, we can't take it too far. The governor of the state, even if he's a 30-year-old guy, you still need to accord him the respect of the #1 citizen of the state. And yes, I mean, my own belief, the way I see it, the parliament is the parliament, and in fact, the parliament has an upper hand, and the parliament is the one representing the people per se, so it's very powerful. But then, when we say this is our government, that is not no. Everybody has to accord the respect to the governor.
So are you saying that he did not? Are you saying that he did not respect the governor?
Well, their relationship, from my own observation, was not the very best. I think it could have been managed better. I have been inside the chamber for a program, and the governor was kept waiting outside the chamber for a few minutes. That's not done. It's not proper. If you already have the schedule, the governor you have agreed on the time that the governor will come in. When the governor gets there, you get alerted that the governor is around. Every other thing should be suspended, and the governor should be accorded the respect of the number one citizen of the state. But the occasion I'm talking about, that did not happen. It even got to a point that governor was coming and then he was said no, not to come down to the podium. Then he had to go back to start greeting people. That's not done. I mean, that's disrespectful of in fact, the people, not just the governor alone. It's disrespectful of the people. And what happened during the budget presentation, this last budget presentation, I wasn't around, but I felt bad. I mean, the house that we spent so much time, we spent such a great portion of our life building, should not be turned to the house of gangsters and so on. I mean, we saw all members were asked to put on sunshade. What's that all about? Everybody felt bad about such things, and I think it was unbecoming.
Okay. Let's bring up another conversation. One of the other controversies that have been sparked was, of course, the statement made by Honorable Obasa, where he alluded to the potential, the potential of him maybe running for office. In fact, I should probably quote what he says. He said regarding running for office, he said, becoming governor is secondary. It is something that I have not given serious consideration. Nevertheless, that does not mean I am too young or lack experience to run. Whereas those who have been before me are not better off. This statement quickly became controversial, with many people saying that he wasn't very smart about how he may have subconsciously or subliminally made his political ambitions known. So let's get your thoughts on that. Do you think that this could have also been a major reason?
You have already, you've already summarized it. I mean, he has all the rights in the world to aspire to be governor of the state. Somebody who has been in the House of Assembly for, six terms, and he has been Speaker for 3 terms. I mean, what is wrong in him aspiring to be governor of the state? But you cannot be governor of the state by, in fact, you need to be smarter. His words at that occasion were completely on, they were not smart enough. How could you start by saying those who have been governor before this time, they were not smarter than you, or you have more experience than it is wrong. It's not done. You are, in fact, you are insulting virtually everybody. We have had governors that you don't even have what it takes, to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. I don't want to go into that area. I mean, it was bad enough. Yeah. And people reacted to that as well.
Yeah. I also want your thoughts on the possible involvement of Mr. President. Was Mr. President's approval maybe also sought before this was taken, or was this an independent decision of the Lagos State House of Assembly and its members?
Well, if you want me to be myself,
we want you to be yourself.
I will be. If you want me to be myself, I'll tell you that this whole thing, yesterday, when people started giving me the story of what was going on in the assembly, the first thing that came to my mind is the gain of Nigeria is now the loss of Lagos. Look, if Mr. President, Jagaban himself, the Asiwaju of Lagos, the Asiwaju of the universe, if he's at home, I mean, if he had been in his real home, Lagos, all this would not have happened. We wouldn't have gotten ourselves to this point because the whole drama would have been taken care of. In fact, it wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't have been so much mess around us. But we gave him to Nigeria. So we have to bear the pain.
What would he have done differently, right? There's part of the information we hear. Please, if you may allow me just say this. We hear that the Governor's Advisory Council had intervened as well. They had reported him to the president. The president had cautioned him, and one would think that after that is El Dorado. So what would the president have done differently?
You see, in most homes, when daddy goes away or he travels abroad, the control becomes a little bit more difficult. You find the kids, not going to bed at the time they're supposed to. You find them dressing whichever way they like, talking and shouting whichever way they like. But when daddy is around, it doesn't.
So you're saying that, are you admitting to the fact that the House of Assembly is not mature enough to look after itself and that it needs the president to babysit?
I'm talking of the body politic itself. I'm not talking of the House of Assembly alone. The problem is, if Baba had been around, most of these problems would have been, how do you say,
nipped in the bud.
They wouldn't have come up at all.
So, Mr. President,
they would have been taken care of.
So what you're saying is immediately the president moved to the Federal Capital Territory and took over as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Lagos State immediately went into chaos, and because there was no element of control.
Not that Lagos State went into chaos, but everyone became, so much, of it's like everyone to his tent, and everyone does whatever he likes because the control is no more what it used to be. We didn't have somebody that we run to in the night or early morning, and you wait until he wakes up, and then you start pouring your mind, and he tells you, go and call this, go and call that. He makes a call and say, I don't want to hear of this. You people should go and get this done, go and get this done, and everything gets settled. We don't have that access any longer. He's not around for us to go and stay with by 2 a.m., by 1 a.m., 3 a.m.
But isn't this a bad thing that you're saying, that the politics in Lagos State cannot run independently on its own and function for Lagos State without Mr. President's direct involvement?
It is not a bad thing. It only shows that there had been one person who really had vision and who was a real father, and we got spoiled. So immediately he moved away. Our spoiled nation came to the fore. But of course, we're learning. It's a learning process. He has been away just for 1.5 years. So now that we have seen all that has been happening around us, we are now correcting ourselves and we grow more matured.
Would you say that you are proud of the quality of leadership that Honorable Obasa presented to the House, especially because he was your successor? So would you say that he picked up from where you left off and did a much better job, or are you disappointed at the quality of leadership he offered?
Man, I think that's not a very fair question to ask me, because, look, I don't want to beat about the bush, but at the same time, this person by now, I'm sure is not likely to be in a happy mood. So for me to now start, throwing punches, I don't want to do that. But let me just say that I am not also happy the state of affairs of the House, because I know I gave my all in all for 10 years to build that place.
Yeah, I mean, you would have a clear idea of what the situation is. You know, there's been people who have also criticized the Governorship Advisory Council and you know, and whatnot. But, you know, tell us about, you know, that GAC. Who are they, and, you know, what exactly do they do for Lagos State? And, you know, why can't, you know, they also make independent decisions without Mr. President's approval?
Well, first and foremost, the GAC is the highest organ, you know, of our party in Lagos. And members of the GAC are highly respected elders, people with experience, those who have served Lagos, served Nigeria over the years. And let me also state that before Mr. President contested for that seat and became president, he was the chairman of the GAC. Our Papa, Prince Olusi, is presently the chairman of GAC. And I want to tell you that members are people with integrity,
right,
highly respected people. And they are doing everything to make sure that the state remains a progressive state.
All right. Honorable Adeyemi Ikuforiji, unfortunately, we have to end the conversation. We want to please get your word that when we get you again, you'll please join us. We've thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you, and we'd love to have another conversation with you again in the nearest future.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with you. I'm always around.
Thank you very much for your time.